Hey, what's up, everybody? Navid Muazzez here. And for this interview, I'm joined by a good friend of mine, Eric Conley. And he's in a program I'm also in called Zero to Launch by Ramit Sethi. And today we are going to dive into some results he got specifically from going through the step-by-step system Ramit teaches. And, it's a fantastic course. I've done many interviews with successful students before. And, for people who are interested in the program, you can also learn more if you go to navid.me/CTL, but more on that later. For now, a little introduction. Eric helps people become early risers so they can work on their side business and work out in the morning before their full-time job. And he has a lot of cool things going on. And he launched, a product, with the CTL framework, getting to 22 sales with a list of only 448 subscribers, I believe, and he has a new program, he just launched. We're going to talk a bit about that. But first of all, warm welcome, Eric.
Thank you so much, Navid. Thrilled to be speaking with you today.
Yeah, definitely, man. So let's take it back a little bit. I'm really interested since, you're actually talked a little bit about this in the pre-chat. You're in your corporate office, so you have basically a side business. So you're trying to really make things happen on the side, making money, so you can take it full time eventually. But specifically, like what were your motivating factors for starting your online business, and also joining CTL for doing so?
It's a good question, Navid. So I've been following Ramit Sethi for probably 6 or 7 years. And Zero to Launch has been maybe the 5th product that I bought from them. What intrigued me was having a flexible work schedule if I did have an online business. So it's not primarily the money. It's actually primarily being able to choose my own hours, work from anywhere, that kind of lifestyle.
Yeah. Let's dive into a little bit, the decision. Did you have any more experience when it comes to business? Joining CTL was obviously a big decision for you, but anything else there, before you joining CTL that exposed you to more of the online business world? What were your first steps there?
So I guess the price point with ZTL, I knew it was a worthwhile investment. Ramit, everything that he touches and produces is top notch. And I know that if I put the time in and the work in with any of his programs, including Zero to Launch, I'm going to get results, right? So I love all of his programs, and specifically with ZTL, I went from literally no idea to launching a product, which I never would have been able to do without the program.
Interesting. So can you get into a little bit specific? So before we dive into really how you use the program, what's your results so far by going through the program? And when did you join? It was earlier this year, 2015, right?
So I joined at the first launch. I think it was early 2014. And my results, so after going through the program, I launched an information product called From Night Owl to Early Riser at $50, which is the, I guess, prescribed dollar amount for the program. And I had a list of 450 people, and I converted roughly 5%, making 22, 23 sales, which is pretty good, for my first launch.
Definitely. And I think, I've done interviews with, other people like Primosh, which they joined. They were in Ramit's beta program before, and Bushra Azar, which is making like crazy money every month. So I think this is inspiring to people because you recently started out basically, working on your side business, making it happen, so you can take these baby steps and do your first launch and then improve over time. And I actually, if you check out the first interview I did with Primosh, back in 2014, when I started interviewing some of Ramit's successful students, he were on a very similar level. He had about 500 subscribers, launching his first product, and now he's doing like $20,000 launches. And that's how you improve over time. But before we get into really like how you launch your products, talk a bit about the importance of validating the idea before committing full time to business, because Ramit talks so much about this in Zero to Launch.
Yeah, I've actually got a bit of a funny story with that. So I work at a normal corporate job, and then I also coach CrossFit on the side. And so my initial idea with ZTL was to help recent mothers who just gave birth lose their pregnancy weight. And this was a horrible idea, right? So I had gotten results with it on a personal level, but in the ZTL program, I learned that I'm never going to relate to my audience. I'm not a woman. I'm never going to give birth. And I also have never been overweight, right? So ZTL helped me kind of reframe my thinking with that. So I thought about other ideas, and people have always praised me with being able to wake up early and work out in the morning or work on my side business. And I thought maybe I have something here. So I started interviewing people on their sleep habits and learned that waking up early was a burning desire for certain people.
All right. And, I mean, so was that always the interest of you? Like, how did you know that people will actually pay for something though? Like, you started your blog, you have it under your own name, ericconley.com. And, how did you think about this? Like when it comes to just starting your website, starting blogging and all this stuff, with, talking to people, how did you know what to, provide them with, what information to write about?
That's a really good question. So, candidly, I would just listen closely when people talked about their sleep. It's Monday morning, they come in, they say, man, I just couldn't get out of bed this morning. I go, really? Tell me more about that. So I would ask questions like that and just listen very closely, not creepy or anything like that, but just being a friend and maybe offering advice here and there. But there were two websites that really helped me get started with understanding people's burning desires and pain points. And that was Quora and Reddit. So with both of those sites, you're actually getting people telling their own story with their sleep. They're telling their problems or challenges with their sleep. And so I started interviewing some of them. I'll just reach out to them one-on-one and ask them if they had 10, 15 minutes on the phone. So my goal was always to get people on the phone versus email, because those conversations are very revealing in what people's true challenges are.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, that's what most people do wrong. They try to go all in, start writing a lot of content, whatever, but no one really shows up. So talk a little bit about, the importance of also, the niche is so important. I talk about this when it comes to virtual summits. It's better to go narrow than broad, because if you're, trying to appeal to everyone, you're actually talking to no one. So that's a really important concept. I believe Ramit talks quite a bit about this in CTL, and there's some variety of different niches, people starting online business, and you are in a different niche. I'm in a different niche. We have, busy moms, fitness professionals, all kind of niches in CTL. So what did you think about this, and really narrowing down your niche so people will actually come to you and, you would be the go-to person?
Yeah, you're asking some really good questions here. So, at first it was just people having trouble with falling asleep. And there's a lot of really bad advice out there. And it's pretty generic. So, before I started developing a bunch of content, I was just interviewing people on the phone. And over time, my niche went from how to overcome sleep deprivation to getting better sleep, and finally to waking up early in the morning, because people, they have to sleep, right? But they want to get as little as they can or whatever is needed, and then to wake up earlier to get to their true goals. So a lot of people lack the time and or discipline to actually wake up early and work on what matters most to them. So many of the people that I help are wanting to wake up early to work out in the morning or work on their side business or do both, right? So sleep isn't actually the answer. It's part of the answer that gets them to what they really want, and that's extra time in the morning.
Interesting. And let's get into a little bit. Now that was the validation part, and there's a lot of stuff about this in CTL for really validating the idea before going full time. And really, you can start out talking to people like Eric did here, and then over time you will grow. But let's get into the next thing here, which really is building your audience. So what steps did you take there to, grow your email list? What did you do to, get to this first product launch? Because I think Ramit recommends that you should have around 500 people on your list before doing your first launch. So talk a bit about this.
Yeah, that's correct. So I'll break it down as 3 steps. I set up my website. I didn't care about the URL. I just chose my name because I knew that over time my positioning might change or I may offer different products. So I just wanted kind of a home base. So I started my website with just my name, put up 3 blog posts about sleep on topics that I learned from interviewing people. Step number 2 was creating what's called a lead-in or congruent carrot magnet. So that was my ebook, How to Fall Asleep in Minutes, which is 32 pages of really useful content for people. And step number 3 was talking to people to do guest posts. That was how I gained almost all of my subscribers. So I talked to people like yourself, Primož Bazic, and I think 3, 4, 5 others. And I would guest post for them and leverage their audience, bring them to my own. And that's how I got to where I'm at today with my subscribers.
Yeah, guest posting is a powerful strategy. And can you give some maybe specifics from, one of your successful posts and what you did to, get a number of subscribers, so we get into some results there as well?
That's right. So what I learned with guest posting is you're going to have a result all over the board. So there's actually 1 or 2 that I did that didn't give me a whole lot of results, but I wasn't discouraged because maybe I didn't have the audience figured out as well as I thought I did. And there were others that surpassed my expectations and still provide results months later. So I knew that the law of averages would work in my favor. I just needed to put in the volume. And the real specific thing that I did here was I would read all of the content on the person's blog that I was going to post for, and then I would spend probably 1, 2, 3 hours crafting the perfect pitch. So I wanted them to feel like it was free content for them, right? It's value that I'm providing. It is a favor that I'm asking for, but at the end of the day, it's additional content that their readers are going to get value from. So I put myself in the author's shoes and said, what would I want if I were them, right? And I went from there.
Yeah, that's great advice. And obviously, was that the only strategy pretty much you used to get to 1,000 subscribers? And what are you doing now to grow your audience as you reached this level, 1,000 subscribers? What are you doing now to grow your audience? And then we can get into more of your first product launch and the next one you recently did.
I'm happy you asked that. So I got 2 things I want to work on to continue growth with my subscribers. Number 1 is probably doing additional guest posts. I actually have 3 things: additional guest posts, posting answers on Quora when people ask questions regarding sleep, and then 3 is a virtual summit, right? So actually my favorite part of having an online business or website is talking to people like yourself, and it's the networking and making friendships with people that are successful and learning from them and then also helping them. So the writing, to me, I know it's part of the process, but if it were up to me exclusively, I would just do video interviews all day, every day, because I get a lot of enjoyment out of these.
Yeah, man, I love doing these interviews and case studies. I've been doing that since I started, as you know. And also, when it comes, actually, this is something I love that you said. You want to do a summit, not only because I'm teaching this, but I believe that, for people who have joined CTL, they are very likely to succeed with, whatever they put their mind into. They want to do a summit, they want to do something else, that's great, but they have already a great foundation to stand on. Yeah, you have already the business foundation. Now you need to create an online business, but then you can join like specific programs like my Virtual Summit Mastery, and then you can create a summit, grow your email list even more. So that's really, I've been having a lot of people that join CTL and then join Virtual Summit Mastery, my pilot program, and now for my upcoming launch that is coming up here. But I want to get into more your first product launch, and talk a little about the positioning you had for this. And you mentioned you had a list of like 448 subscribers when you did that. So walk us through this process, because I think it can be really inspiring for people.
That's right. So actually, building a product and launching was much easier than finding my idea. So it all starts from building a foundation and then just working through that. So once I had my subscribers, I had talked with literally hundreds of people on their challenges with waking up early. And I knew all the content that I could share in a product, right? And so within ZTL, they provide you a bit of an outline. And I just took this outline, built a product, which is only about an hour's worth of video, audio, and text content. And I also gave people resources to hold them accountable. So creating the product I did in one weekend, whereas building an audience and finding my idea probably took me maybe 6 months. You know, it took me quite a while. And then the launch specifically, that was an interesting process because I chose to do, I think, a 5-day sales technique, which is something you learn more about in ZTL. But I learned how to kind of prime the pump, so to speak, with getting people excited about my product from night owl to early riser, and then finally converted them on a sales page. And then at the very end, this is really important too. So I had prepared that this was my first launch. If it wasn't going to go well, or even if it did, I had a survey at the very end to even dig deeper on why or why not people bought the product. So you can continuously improve your product, offer, you know, series 2.0, 3.0, et cetera. Always improve it for your audience.
Right. I mean, that's valuable. So Ramit also talks about this. He talks about you should optimize for learning, not for, you know, profit in the beginning or making a lot of money, because, you know, you're starting out. You cannot expect to do maybe your first launch, do a $10,000 launch or something. And I have people all the time coming to me. They want to do these summits. They see the success I had with Chandler Summit. They say, oh, we got 25,000 subscribers and 300,000 in sales. But then they don't see that how much work went behind this, and that we already had a business and we had relationships. And you can maybe expect a few thousand, but that's still really good. You know, you should not look, you know, compare yourself to others. You are, you know, where you are, and it has to take the time. For example, Bushra, she went through CTL super fast and skyrocketed her business. For some other people, they have been taking like a year or something, and then they reached a breakthrough moment. And I mean, it's just wherever you are, you can still make it work for you. So anything else you learned there from your first product, or what would you maybe do even different for the next one to even optimize things more and make more money, you know, and now you have a bigger audience as well?
Yeah, I'm happy you asked that too. So I'm kind of taking the approach of coaching people. I want to continue to build my market research, understand my audience really well. So I'm now doing more coaching on sleep and waking up early to get to know my audience even better. And after having maybe 10 or so clients with that, then I'll go out and develop a more, I guess, refined information product that I can sell to everybody. But for now, getting that coaching experience is really going to help me into my next product.
Awesome. And you know, I also love that you said but for the first product, you spent like a weekend creating this product. So you had already done all the work up front, and then you go into it. Creating this product was not so difficult. And I think Ramit talks about this. It doesn't have to be so perfect for the first one. It can be maybe a few videos, some worksheets or whatever. So you help people go through the content. And yeah, the price point is important to touch upon here as well. You know, some people, they get confused on that, but I think Ramit has, you know, a recommendation of starting with a $47 video product. So that's kind of what you did, right, Eric?
That's correct. Yeah. You know, developing the product is one thing. Asking people for money for the product is something entirely different, right? And so Ramit, what's special about ZTL is he helps you overcome those psychological battles, right? I have never been in sales in my life. In fact, in my guest post on your site, I think I mentioned the last time I asked for money was when I was maybe 11 years old, shoveling snow on sidewalks, right? Ever since then, I've been an employee to an employer. So creating that sales page and asking for money was a big hurdle for me that Ramit held my hand and walked me through. So that's the value of the ZTL course.
Yeah, man, that's great. And what would you say that you got from the community side of things when you were having these hurdles? You know, you're maybe afraid of not being seen as the expert in your field. There are other people talking about sleep and stuff like that. There's people been doing this for a long time, and then you're coming into it. You have some expertise. You're doing it yourself, but you're gonna launch a product with limited audience. And how did the community help you maybe with your hurdles and how to overcome them?
So there are some really special people in the Facebook communities that you can always lean to for feedback. I probably posted throughout the entire process maybe 15 times. Some of them I was asking questions, others I was providing my experience. And then after my launch, I combined everything that I did and created this massive document to help out others in their launch. So this is a very giving community, right? It's not something that people are selfish with it. So one thing I learned a long time ago with these Facebook communities is givers get more. So I always took this approach to try and be a giver in those communities, and so does everybody else, right? Those people that give the most are actually getting the most in return.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And it's all about providing value. And you see that all the time in the Facebook community. Sometimes posts get hundreds of likes, and then you see some posts get 0 likes, but it's because they maybe the first time they post there, they ask you to check out a video or something like this, and it takes them off the Facebook group or something, and it's not providing value and it's not specific enough. But Ramit is like a police in there, so you will not. He doesn't tolerate spam or any actually bad comments or anything like that. It's always really high quality stuff, and that's what I love personally about the community. And I think you would agree with that as well. It's just like so in-depth stuff. When you check out a comment, Ramit goes in there and checks it. Selena Sue is in there commenting really high quality stuff. Primoz is in there, the accelerator coach, and it's all really valuable stuff. I love it. And but something else you mentioned here before we got into a little bit the community was the coaching side of things. And I mean, in terms of coaching, did you do that when you started out? Some coaching, you talk to people obviously, but charging for money, is that one-on-one coaching? Can you tell us a bit about how this process works for you today?
Yeah, but let me back up just one quick second. So you mentioned that Ramit is policing the Facebook groups. So when I posted my takeaways from the ZTL group, that was, I think, 20, 30 pages long in a Google Doc after my launch, he commented, "This is awesome. Everybody should read that." And that was like the highlight of my launch right there, was having the Godfather, so to speak, tell me that he was happy for me and that everybody should check out my experience.
Love that.
But with regards to coaching, I would do informal coaching. In fact, on my autoresponder, people would sign up for my list early on. I would offer what's called breakthrough sessions, and they were 45 minutes long. And it was beneficial to me because I got to know my market better, but also to my audience, right? Because I would give them candid feedback and hold them accountable to taking action and getting the proper sleep and waking up early. So that was an informal way to coach. What I've done lately is actually build out a program. It's an 8-week program to become an early riser and have the energy to work out in the morning or work on your side business. And it's going really well. Both of my clients are super happy, and I can see their results actually increase, whether it's with their fitness, their side business, or both.
Awesome. And do you mind sharing how much you charge for coaching today? If people, if they're interested, or just for results purposes, since you started out talking to people, which, Ramit really recommends that also in CTL, for validating your ideas and so on. And there's even for people who, maybe want to take the turn of going into a service-based business before they launch the product. He has like what he calls, I think, the $8,000 detour or something like that in CTL. And there you can check out really, if you want to start with providing services like for your time and then take this to launching your first product, you can do that too. So CTL works for both service-based businesses, and if you're doing more of the online-based, creating a product and selling that, and can, scalable business. So just interested a little bit in what you're charging for this, and if it's scalable, maybe even in the future to do something like this, maybe group coaching program.
Yep. So it was funny. I actually had an unsolicited reader reach out to me and say, "Eric, I love from my out early riser, but I need coaching." And so we hopped on the phone for maybe 20 minutes. I learned what she wanted, and I built out an 8-week program, asked her for $500, and she said, no problem. And this 8-week program, we get on Skype once a week for 15 minutes. So we're talking, 2 hours of my time, and I'm charging $500. It's pretty incredible, actually. The amount of money that you can generate, and she's getting the results, right? I built in some automation techniques to where we're not just talking once a week, but there's several touch points there to where I check in with her.
Awesome. This is really cool. So you can actually start off in a very small scale, and then you can create a real group coaching program. I mean, Selena has this Get Known, Get Clients, which I know you're a member of as well. And that's just fantastic. So you can build that out, with a similar, you learn from CTL, you learn from Selena, and then it can just turn into, having group coaching program, having this course. And it's a great funnel. You start with this, maybe cheaper, $47, still valuable program. And then you can take them into your funnel and maybe offer them a more higher price group coaching program for, well, you started at 500, but maybe you can increase the price there depending on how much interaction it is from your side. So I'm really excited to hear that.
Yeah, and I plan to increase the price on the next time I go out, and also kind of make that information product for my auto advisor even better and charging more on that too. So that can kind of be the low level entry, and then on the back end there's going to be, hey, there's also coaching available if you're interested.
Right. And I think that's what Primož did in the very beginning. He had like this systems course for $47. And now his latest launch, I believe he kind of went away a little bit from this. I think he still has the system course, out there, but he has this course on, skyrocket your side business pretty much. And I think that was around $497, something like this. And that's just like show you what you can do. Just keep increasing the price, the more value you provide. Maybe you need a little bit more than 1 hour, 1 hour's worth of content in a $497 course, but it's still not that much. I think I've heard this from someone that it's not that much more work to, whether it's like a $97 product or maybe a $497. It's obviously some more that goes into, but it's not always more content. It's just that you need to show that they can get more, the results out of it. So would you agree with that, Eric, in terms of the pricing?
I totally agree, but I would encourage people not to jump ahead. It's very, very important to start off with that $47 or $49 product. You learn the ropes of what it takes to build a sales page, to have autoresponders, etc. You're going to learn the process. And then you can kind of ramp up just like Primož did, just like what I'm about to do. So yeah, you can definitely ramp that up and you will have exponential increases in your revenue, but don't forget that first step.
Yeah, I love it. And actually, I'm probably not the best example of that since I didn't do it. I joined CTL after I've been doing some things and I was all into my podcast and this, and I did my summit. But I would say my summit is not like an entry-level point, but I did use CTL for validating the idea for the summit in some way, talking to people, and also did like blog posts on my site since I had a small but still existing audience that were happy to hear from me. So I think $47 definitely, if you're gonna follow through a system and really learn the ropes of doing this. I guess I didn't do that, but I still need an entry. I would like to have an entry-level product personally, because my high-end program, Virtual Summit Master, is gonna be $997 starting. So that's a high-end course. I've seen people just have that, but imagine getting people in, signing up for your newsletter, and instantly they can buy a $47 ebook or $47 course. That's pretty powerful. And then taking them up the level, it's easier to get them to commit to paying for something, maybe more higher end. So that's great.
Yep, you're exactly right. I would say you're a bit of an exception with your Virtual Summit Mastery. I mean, you had some really incredible success, but you did so much work. I think you had 88 interviews or so.
Right. Yep. 88 interviews for the branding summit. I mean, I joined CTL personally. I think it was at the first launch with you, but I was so into what I was doing. I always go back to CTL whenever I want to check something out, whenever I want to get some information. I think John Corcoran mentioned this in the Facebook group too. He sees Ramit CTL like as an pretty much a business dictionary, online business. You can always go back there and find whatever you're looking for. So if I want to see how to do maybe strategic guest posting or something like that, I can go to CTL, or obviously speak to my friends like Selena Sue, yourself, that have been doing guest posting a lot. So I always have a community to fall back on, and I think that's extremely powerful. But now I want to talk a little bit about more than just the business side of things. So you're working now on your side business, obviously, and you still have your full-time job, which you might gonna transition out of as your business grows. But really having this online business, making money online, and becoming a lifestyle entrepreneur, how does this feel, or what's the most satisfying part of it, doing this for you, Eric?
When I went and did my first launch, everything was set up automatically, right? And then you just kind of have your hands off. I was on a vacation. And so I think my launch ended on a Sunday, if I'm not mistaken. So we're driving back home and I'm getting pings on my cell phone of different sales. That's really cool, right? To actually get money when you're not working, so to speak, on your online business. So for me, the money's nice. But actually, I'm going to go back to getting people results. Waking up early has been a really powerful trigger for a lot of people to work on what they want to work on. You always hear people say, I don't have time. I don't have time. And we don't realize that we can cut into our mornings just 30 minutes to an hour, have that every day. You're going to have time to massively increase whatever you want to work on. And so seeing that happen, seeing people's results, it's really gratifying.
Yeah, I completely agree. And really, it's nice for me as well. I live in Cancun, but what's really gets me going in the morning, other than looking at or out over the Caribbean Ocean here, is super nice, and for my view, is really helping people, getting them results, helping people like Chandler and people in my program, creating their summits, so they can grow their business and grow their list and really explode pretty much with their business and life. That's what excites me. So I completely agree with you. The results, that's the most gratifying thing. And other than that, I would just like to hear, since you're an early riser, and I try to do this the best, most of the days I try to wake up really early, get my day going with maybe some swimming in the pool. But I want to hear your morning routine, or maybe you can walk us through a day in your life, what it looks like.
Yeah. So actually, I talk about this a little bit. My morning actually starts the night before, right? So every single night, I make sure I have a clean kitchen. I know that sounds really weird, but I set up my kitchen to where when I wake up, all I do is turn on the stove for my breakfast, and everything's automatic. It's flowing. There's no cleaning the dishes, no getting things out. So I start that at 9 p.m. every night with my evening alarm clock, which I talk about in my blog. And then I wake up at roughly 4:45, 5 a.m., have my breakfast, which is normally eggs, sweet potatoes, kale, and avocado, a really healthy breakfast. And I go either work on my website or I go do CrossFit before work. So I work from about 5:30, 5:45 to 6:30, 6:45 every morning. And then I get to work at 7, ready to go. So my day starts pretty early, but I got to tell you, when I started this early routine, everything that I was working on, whether it was my fitness or my business, it skyrocketed.
Wow. That's really cool. And I think that's one thing I wanted to talk about, because people always say that they don't have time. They are thinking about joining Zero to Launch, and they're like, how am I going to be able to walk through all this content? There's so much to do here. But it's all about the baby steps. So how are you finding time in the morning, Eric? And how many hours a week would you say that it's advisable or that you recommend someone work on their side business to really get results? Obviously that depends on the person, but overall, in general, how much did you work, and what would you recommend to someone who wants results?
Honestly, I put in about 5 hours a week on average,
Mm.
which was as much as I could possibly do. I still have my day job, which is pretty stressful,
Mm.
and I work about 50 hours a week there. So, and then I also coach CrossFit on the side, right? So I only did 5 hours a week, and that maybe delayed my progress a little bit. But if you can be consistent with your approach, it's gonna get there. So 5 hours a week is my recommendation.
Wow. So that's actually not too much, for someone. If you're having a, day job or part-time job, whatever you have, and like committing 5 hours, but actually it's not just 5 hours. It's like super focused work. So you're getting a lot of things done in those 5 hours. But now, are you committing more than 5 hours currently to your business, or is it roughly the same since you have your day job at the moment too?
It's roughly the same, which this brings me up a good point, right? If it's called Parkinson's law, right? So if you can remember back at university or in college, let's say your professor tells you that something is due and it's kind of a surprise, within a week, you're going to get that assignment done in that week. Whereas if he said this is due at the end of the semester, you're going to kind of slack off and take your time. So when you're given a closed amount of time, you're going to do whatever it takes to make it happen. So I know that if I only have 1 hour a day to work on ZTL, I'm going to make the absolute most of it. I'm not going to be on Facebook or Twitter or whatever. I'm going to be laser focused, interviewing people, writing content, whatever needs to be done for my business.
Yeah, that's powerful. And something else here is that when people are, finding out about this online business world for the first time, they're seeing people traveling the world, or making money, while they sleep. They think of this as a whole scam. And obviously Ramit's book has a kind of scammy title, I will teach you to be rich, but it's far from it. And the Serial to Launch is the same. It's super high quality stuff. And I want to hear from you. What do you think is the biggest misconceptions of really starting an online business?
The get rich quick scheme, right? So I think Ramit does a pretty good job in saying that here's the program. It's the best out there, but it's going to take some work on your part, right? This is not a get rich quick scheme. And he says first year is learning, second year is earning, and third year is about growth, right? So he lays out that timeline and how long it's going to take to get to where you want to go. There are outliers like yourself and Bushra, but for the most part, you're going to have to put in that work to get to that next level. So I think he does an honest job of keeping people level-headed with the entire program. He's not saying you're going to do this and in 1 month you're going to make $1 million, right? He's asking you to learn your first year, and then next year make a little bit of money, and then after that you can then scale up and maybe have your online business afford the lifestyle that you want.
Right. That's good. That's great advice. And for people who don't know, I still started and struggling a lot from mid June to in June 2013, and it was really a big hustle for me. My business took off in November 2014 when I did the branding summit, so it was still a run period. So now, yeah, we're in 2015 at the time of this recording. Yes, I have a 6-figure business. Things are going well. I have my launch coming up. Actually, this is the first real product of Virtual Summit Mastery I'm doing. I've been trying things before, before the branding summit a little bit, but it didn't really take off. And then I did the branding summit. Things took off, had some clients, and launched a pilot program. And now this Virtual Summit Mastery is going to be a great launch for me. But it was a lot of time leading up to this, a lot of hours, and I worked a lot more hours than also the 5. So I had a part-time, I still had a job. So I had a part-time job, but I still hustled. I probably worked like 15-hour days, maybe not focused all the time, but I still put in a lot of work to get to where I am today. So I think what you're saying here with hard work, this has been working for so many people. But people like yourself and Primoz, they made a commitment to themselves. They will make this work no matter what. This worked for Bushra, it's worked for other people, and maybe it's different for you. Maybe it's not going to work the exact same way, but you will make it work for you and wherever you come from. And really, it doesn't matter the niche, doesn't matter where you are. Different people in the community, over 5,000 people in there, I think right now, which is crazy. They are just hustling, trying to make it happen. A lot of good stuff. So thanks for sharing that, Eric.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, and the next thing, other than time, what would you say is some of the biggest excuses in the delay of starting their own business? Because that's I hear this all the time. I've been attending a lot of Ramit's webinars, and there's always people there like, oh, I can't start my business. I have this and that coming up, and it's not a perfect moment for me to do this right now. So what do you have to say to them? They are doubters and they are thinking about starting the business, but they don't know when to do it.
So I think people say what you mentioned. I don't have time. It's not the biggest priority for me. I already have a good job, etc. I think underneath all of that is I don't mean to sound mean, they don't believe that they can achieve the success they want to in an online business. So that is the absolute foundation that you need to be successful with ZTL or whatever you're going to invest in, right? Is you've got to believe in yourself that I'm going to pay money, invest in myself, go through this course, and I'm not going to give up until I see some results, right? I mean, that's the mindset that you need to be successful in ZTL. It's not easy. It's going to take hard work. And if you're up for that, it will pay off. I promise you.
Yeah, that's great. And now, just for people just serious to launch, really, who is this course for and who is it not for? We mentioned a little bit that it could work for people, whether you're service based or you want to create this online business, it can definitely work for you. But really, what would you say there? You've been talking to a lot of people in the community, you've been attending Serious to Launch Accelerator, meeting a lot of students yourself. So who is this course for and who can succeed with the material?
So I think the name of the product itself is so good, right? Zero to launch, right? So no matter where you're at in that process, if you know nothing, you have no idea, up to the point that you launch, it's a good fit for you, right? This is the introduction and basically online business 101 course that you need to get going with your online business. So if you're not sure, you have an idea, but you do want to have, quote unquote, a lifestyle business, or you want to have an online business, this course is for you. That said, this course is not for you. Again, going back to believing in yourself. If you're going to get to it one day, or maybe after you finish X, Y, or Z, right, you are going to put money down here and you've got to be willing to work. And so if you aren't willing to put in 5-10 hours a week for weeks on end, then it's not for you.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. You gotta put in the work. And also, I pulled up your write-up there from the community you wrote about your launch, and there was a great quote there by Mark Twain: "Continuous improvement is better than delayed perfection." And that's just so true. I mean, you bought Serious to Launch in April 2014, and then you launched your first successful product in May 31st in 2015. So you've been working quite a while, and that's just to show that it doesn't matter. You keep working at it till you find your first profitable idea, and then you scale from there. And that brings me obviously to the next thing here. What's next in your business and maybe in your life too, when continuing to work on CTL and taking things to the next level a little bit?
I love that Mark Twain quote, right? You talk about this too, in that you've got to act before you're fully ready and deal with the results that you're going to get. If you aim for perfection, you're never going to take any action whatsoever, right? So I knew that going into the ZTL course, I knew it before I was fully ready. So what's next for me? I guess in my personal life, I'm engaged, getting married actually in Cancun, where you live. Here in about 8 months, I have my full-time job that I will hang on to and still do well at, right? One thing that I learned as part of Ramit's Brain Trust Learner program is that you've got to hustle in both directions, right? This is not an if or scenario, right? It's a yes and yes. You've got to continue working hard at work and then also on your side business. So getting married, still working on my full-time job, and then with ZTL, it's actually doing coaching and getting to my market better through coaching. And at the end of the day, once that program takes off, I'm going to offer, I guess, 2 layers. The front-end product will be an advanced from night owl to early riser, and the back-end product is going to be a coaching or mastermind group. So I'm working through Selena Sue's Get Known, Get Clients course on that right now. So the combination of ZTL and Selena's course is top-notch, and it's guiding me through the entire process.
Yeah, I love it. There's some exciting things coming up, and obviously combining that with a virtual summit, later on, that would be great for your growth of this, getting more email subscribers, growing your business as well. And I can definitely see that working for your niche. And I think that's something you can get some interesting speakers on. It's a big topic, actually. A lot of people talking about how to become an early advisor. We have Hal Elrod, we have, I think Sean Stevenson. We have a lot of people who are doing this, and you can get some really cool names on your summit, and really exciting for what's to come next for you and for people who want to go through maybe a similar path to Eric or what I've done, Primoz, Naveen Didakavi, Maria Brilaki, Bushra. There's so many people I've interviewed. You can just check out those interviews as well here, and I'll link those up. And the link, if you want to learn more about Serial to Launch and possibly get access to some exclusive bonuses by signing up via my link, is navid.me/CTL. So go check that out, learn more. Ramit has a video there. You can really check out on how to automate your online business. So definitely. And any final words here, Eric, to my audience?
No, I want to thank you for reaching out to me. We've been friends now for about a year or so, and I love seeing your success, Navid, and I think your material is great, and I'm really excited to be a part of that and help people, I guess, influence them to join Zero to Launch. It's going to be a big investment, a lot of work, but trust me, it's worth it. So thank you again for having me.
Thanks, Eric. And again, the link is navid.me/CTL. Go check that out and check out some of the other case studies I've done with Ramit's successful students. They're really in depth. So whether you join CTL or not, you actually get some great value from these interviews. It's not just about pitching CTL. If it's not right for you right now, don't join it. If you have credit card debt, Ramit won't let you join the program. So only know if it's right for you, right? And it's gonna be an investment. It's more than $1,000 to join the program, but it's gonna pay off if you can put in the work. So thanks, Eric, for coming on here. I had a really good time.
Yep.